Descendants of Frederick Douglass, the famed abolitionist and orator, responded on Tuesday to the praise White House Chief of Staff John Kelly bestowed upon Confederate General Robert E. Lee, telling Newsweek his comments were part of a false narrative. Douglass saw Robert E. Lee in efforts to canonize him after his death as being emblematic of this kind of historical whitewashing, family members who are part of the Frederick Douglass family's initiative wrote collectively. We can't have a national conversation when false narratives are being perpetuated generation after generation at kitchen tables. Kelly called Lee an honorable man and said the Civil War was a battle between men and women of good faith on both sides who had to make their stand. He told Fox News' Laura Ingraham on Monday that the lack of an ability to compromise was the reason for the Civil War. The Douglass family also spoke out in February to the Huffington Post, outlining Douglass's accomplishments after President Donald Trump made comments that suggested he did not know who Douglass was. Below is an email exchange between Newsweek and the family members. What were Mr. Douglass's views of General Robert E. Lee? Do any particular speeches or editorials come to mind? Frederick Douglass understood intimately that the Civil War was fought because of the South's desire to preserve the immoral and unjust institution of slavery. In an 1871 speech, he was critical of those wanting to rewrite history by drawing a moral equivalence to those who died fighting on both sides. I am no minister of malice. I would not strike the fallen. I would not repel the repentant, but may my right hand forget her cunning and my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth, if I forget the difference between the parties to that terrible, protracted, and bloody conflict. Douglass saw Robert E. Lee in efforts to canonize him after his death as being emblematic of this kind of historical whitewashing. What does it mean to have top White House officials who, in February, seemed not to know who one of the country's most influential abolitionists was, and who now seem to be participating in a revisionist history of the Civil War? We believe it's a positive thing for these issues to be surfacing now. We can't have a national conversation when false narratives are being perpetuated generation after generation at kitchen tables. When they become headlines, however, we have the opportunity to correct the record. Did the Trumps ever reach out to you after you released your statement in the Huffington Post in February, outlining the accomplishments of Douglass? We didn't hear from the White House after the HuffPost article, although I believe the Vice President's office had expressed interest in attending our February 28 book launch of the Douglass narrative at the Library of Congress. We hope to put this bicentennial edition of the narrative in the hands of 1 million young people over the next 16 months to help inspire conversation about our history and our future.